In this section, you'll learn how to activate and use the GOTO Special feature, which allows you to highlight cells based on what you're looking for, e.g. Input cells, formula cells, inputs that are only numerics, differences in formulas in a row or column, or cells that contain conditional formatting or data validation behind them. The GOTO Special command is one of Excel's best features and probably the one that people don't know about the most. Just to show you where it sits, if you go to Edit, go to Special, you'll see a little box pops up. All it gives you, it's basically saying, where must it go to? You can say select all comments or constants or formulas, blanks, row differences, column differences, etc. So it's a very quick way of traveling around your spreadsheet, and you can imagine with a big enough spreadsheet this could be very useful. So for example, what I wanted to do is I wanted to go to all the constants. Now I can specify, I just want to see numbers. I'm not worried about any of these others. And when I click OK, you'll see it highlights all the cells that contain constants, which are numbers. Now you can imagine what that makes it very easy to do is to color it. So I can now change all those to maybe a light yellow. And so you can continue. Again, remember, if you've got a section highlighted, it'll only look within that section. If you have one cell clicked, it'll look through the whole section. So we can go to Special. And I can say now I'm looking for formulas that have numbers in them. We say OK. You'll see it highlights all the formulas. So you can see that this is the manual way of doing what Spreadsheet Professional does in its Painter. You can navigate across the sheets. There are a number of other useful features, however, in this feature. So let's say we've got a big spreadsheet, and all over you can see these little red flags, which are comments, which are included. Now this is an old spreadsheet. We want to get rid of those because they're relevant to prior projects. You can work through your entire spreadsheet to try and find them, or you can click on the comments and say OK, and you'll see it'll just highlight all the cells that have got the comments in them. You can go to Edit, Clear Comments, and you can do it extremely quickly. One of the other very useful features is the ability to actually see what is different about a row or column. So if you highlight, for example, this row here, you go Edit, go to Special, you can look up here and say, tell me what in this row is different. And the way it works is it says, that's the first formula, in which cells are different to that first formula. And we click OK. And it points out that every single cell after that is different. So we can look at the formula and say, okay, there's that formula, we know what that's doing. The next formula, and presumably all the others after that, does something different. And you'll see, yes, there's a new formula there. But let's now look at that section there and see which of the formulas are different. So Edit, go to Special. We're again looking at row differences. And what it's going to say is, this formula is here. Which of these are not an exact copy across? And you click OK. It points out that that cell there is not the same as all the other cells. Just to prove it, this cell would look there. The cell pointed out is over there, and it's got a different calculation in it. As you can see, this is the manual process of doing the maps in Spreadsheet Professional, where you'd need to go through each single row or column to actually identify differences. Another useful feature of the GOTO Special is to find cells that have got programming sitting behind them. So if we say GOTO Special, we can look for two areas, conditional formats and data validation. It's not obvious to spot in the spreadsheet itself. So let's look for all data validation cells. If you click OK, it points out that there are two cells that appear to have data validation in it. For review purposes, what you might want to do is just change the color, and then go look there and say, okay, what validation is sitting here? It's a tax rate. Okay, validation has put in that it can't be more than 100%. So that might not concern you. You can go there and see the same thing. The inflation rate cannot be more than 20%. And that may or may not concern you. But what is important to understand is the ability to navigate through your spreadsheet quickly and easily. Just to run through all the options that exist with GOTO Special, I've shown you how to use a comments one. If you click on constants, you can specify what you're looking for in particular. Similarly with formulas. Blanks will highlight all the blanks in a particular area. Current region will bring out the current region and current array. If you ask for objects, it will highlight all objects, which are the buttons, pictures, etc. It enables you to delete them quite quickly. Row differences we have been through, and column differences is exactly the same. You just highlight the column and specify you're looking for differences. Precedents and dependents are quite useful. What it allows you to do is to look at all the precedents and all the dependents. So for example, we're currently clicked on inflation rate, 5%. We want to know the dependents, what other cells are relying on it. Let's first look at the direct only, and if you click OK, it will highlight the cells that rely on that cell, and you can see immediately that one is missing. Alternatively, you can look for dependents to all levels. So tell me all the cells that directly or indirectly refer to that cell. Click OK, and you'll see it highlights all the cells, which is quite a useful feature. The problem with this tool is that it only looks at the current sheet. So unlike the auditing toolbar where it will warn you if it's been used in other sheets, this one doesn't do that. So that's a dependence, and you can do exactly the same with the precedents. Last cell will tell you what is the actual last cell in a spreadsheet, which is useful to find stray sheets. Visible cells shows only the unhidden cells. And I've shown you conditional formatting and data validation. In general, this is an extremely useful tool to get to know, and will make your life significantly easier, especially if you don't have Spreadsheet Professional loaded.